there was an Iraqi, he had a machine gun as well, firing at me, and his weapon jammed. Then I got the first shot off. That was the first time I ever killed anyone. And I never wanted to ever harm anyone or ever have to go through that situation.
And I saw this lieutenant trying to move, and I tried to get to the helicopter and grab his foot to see if I couldn't pull him out. But the flames were just too high. It just burned and basically blew up, and we sent back the 3 body bags.
And when that pile went off, it cut the fucking legs right off. Completely just, and then the medic that tried to work on King when he got home. And then somebody told me that he killed himself down in Myrtle Beach one weekend. Because he couldn't take that.
And we took a direct hit, and it pretty much destroyed most of the hospital. There was just nothing but blood and body parts, and I can smell it, I can taste it, and I can see it.
What I wanted to do was sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I wanted to get some vets here. I wanted to really help them. I wanted to show everybody what we could do with this process so that the public will start pushing the VA and pushing the therapy fields and pushing the hospitals and so on to use this non-invasive, easy-to-use, astonishingly successful technique.
Actually, I heard that Gary was going to be working with vets and contacted him because I was interested in that population.
I'd seen the 5 days at the VA video and found it enlightening. I also, in a very selfish way, thought, my God, I'll be exposed to some of the premier EFTers in the world, and I can watch and learn something here.
EFT is an emotional version of acupuncture, except we don't use needles. Instead, we stimulate various meridians that have been mapped and found 5,000 years ago by the Chinese by tapping on them with our fingertips in certain strategic places on our body.
The cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. What causes a negative emotion isn't an event out there, it's your body's reaction to that event, much like a hose being twisted. But we know that if we unkink that hose or undo that disruption, the emotion dissolves. That's why we can say with confidence, if you really unkinked it and you got the intensity to a 0 and we collapsed all of the aspects of it, you're not going to feel it again.
I thought it was a good idea at the time for them to see the area of operations, but if I hadn't sent them out, maybe they wouldn't have been killed and burned alive like that.
And so the guilt area is you sent them out?
Yeah.
It didn't matter what decision you made. You were possibly wrong.
I was in a position where I was damned if I did and damned if I didn't.
All right, stop right here. All right. Even though I was damned if I did and damned if I didn't.
Even though I was damned if I did and damned if I didn't.
I'm in war.
I'm in war.
There's things you have to do. Say, I feel guilty about the war.
I feel guilty about the war.
I feel guilty about that war incident.
I feel guilty about that war incident.
How true does that feel?
For some reason, it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel good.
Well, let's be a little more specific then. I feel guilty for my decision.
Yeah, the problem is I don't.
Well, okay, that's what I want to understand. Okay, You don't feel guilty about it?
Not about that decision, no.
Well, okay, a half an hour ago you felt guilty about that decision.
Right.
And I was stationed at the Chulai Hospital, and we took a direct hit. We were trying to pull people out, and I pulled somebody out from underneath the rubble, and all I pulled out was half of them. And you go for somebody else, and you hear somebody screaming, and the place is dark, and you were picking up parts. I could see it like it was here, like, you know, it's in front of me. And I've had flashbacks about them. And I never want to go back there. I wake up, like now I'm sweating.
Right, stay with me, just stay with me.
It's just,
Okay, just stay with me, just be quiet.
I feel like I'll throw up.
You what?
I'll throw up.
He didn't actually vomit, but he thought he had to. He came back, his face was ashen and everything, and we just kept tapping on it. What other pieces of this memory are showing up? A sight, a sound, what?
Mostly the body parts and the blood and the smell. I can feel it, you can see it.
Okay, all right, here. Even though I have this blood in these body parts.
Even though I have these bloods and body parts.
In my mind.
In my mind.
In my memory.
In my memory.
It's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
It's not really here right now.
It's not really here with me.
The next day we collapsed it still further and further and further till he would just talk about it like it was nothing.
We just started pulling bodies out.
And how many bodies were there?
I think all total there was 15 killed. You know, it's amazing how I feel right now. I can actually talk about it calmly.
And for 4 years, I'm trying to get help, and I haven't been getting it.
Carlin couldn't see a future for himself. He couldn't get past being stuck of where he was because of the nightmares and he just couldn't go there.
Carlin, when he showed up that first night, was very tense, very skeptical. He was, by his own terms, drinking himself to sleep every night because his nightmares would get to him so badly.
It's amazing what I was doing with alcohol. Like some people would do with like deep drugs.
Yes.
It was like I'd wake up and I'd drink the entire day.
And the lack of hope has sent him into, I can't do this life. You know, I'm gonna go back. I have to go back. I have to re-enlist. That's all I know. That's all I know how to do.
There are people bringing up stuff they've never talked or exposed to anybody else. They are touching affect that's like the atomic bombs of their mind.
There was a small child walking up to the post, and he just blew up. He blew up, and
Yep.
you know, arms and legs went everywhere.
Okay. How do you feel when you tell me that?
Pretty sick.
I don't know where I'd be if I wasn't able to tap on myself hearing what this young man has had to put up with.
Because hearing the women screaming and the girls, like the children screaming with them and looking at us like, you know, y'all are here, y'all are the reason why my child's dead.
Okay. And then helping him take piece by piece, unpack it, and dilute it. And so that was exhilarating because within a day, he's not smoking. He doesn't care about the drinking. And I said to him, well, because we've taken care of what you needed to completely obliterate with alcohol and cigarettes. What would you say?
Said screaming of the women and children, 0.
Zero.
It's gone.
Good. So are they all 0?
Yes. I
Brains?
don't feel guilty for
No guilt. Okay. Brains splattered all over the floor.
0.
Blood everywhere.
0.
Body parts all over you.
0.
Okay. And it's my fault.
0.
Great.
And many of them had other kinds of traumas that cover the whole spectrum of life, from early childhood through recent time.
In Andy's case, just the way he presented himself, it's basically just what he said. You know, he told us that when he was a little boy, 4 or 5 years old, that this was the time when his soul left the body.
He talked about the fact that his father was very domineering, not loving at all. In fact, he called him Jack, not Dad.
In the room, I felt as if my father was there, and Ingrid kind of got up and went over to him and just took my childhood and my power as a person away from him. as if he was sitting right there and handed them to me in just that one session.
I would say that I've never seen anything that can start with a symptom of very high anxiety, of insomnia, of hyperarousal, and have that disappear in the course of a few days' time. That's extraordinary.
For the first time, I felt like I was my own man.
That was my life. You know, all of the intrusive, especially the suicide thoughts, you know, because I've attempted it at least 4 times. If I have intrusive thoughts, they're just fleeting moments like that, where before they would stay with me. I didn't have the nightmares. I didn't have the baddest sleeping problems. It's like everything came down, you know, from a 10 to a 0, 1, or 2, you know. It amazed the hell out of me. I did not expect this whatsoever.
I need to tell my colleagues in military settings, start at the front lines doing this. You know, start doing this as fresh as you can with people.
So no nightmares?
No nightmares. Woke up feeling good.
Great. How is your jaw today?
I don't feel any pain.
And the neck that is usually, I know, from the jaw?
Right.
Is that
It's
okay?
0. Yeah.
Okay. How are your hands?
It's better than yesterday.
That is much better. I can see that.
Yeah.
That's the tremor.
Now he knows that he can be in the civilian world, and he has a place here.
We are great people. We are people who deserve to be free from our fears and our sins and our hurt and our anguish.
He's a veteran and he has had all the symptoms and we've been in the psych ward for years. I've had therapy, and in 3 days we're talking. And we haven't talked in 5 years, really talked and had a conversation. These men should have their families supporting them on a consistent basis for many years. They shouldn't lose their wives, they shouldn't lose their children because they serve this country.
I can't emphasize enough how important it is that you can actually feel like a real person again and not be afraid and not have to cover up all of your junk every single day of your life.
I haven't felt this good doing cocaine. I haven't felt this good drinking. I just hope the people would just try it once.
And I mean this sincerely, especially, you know, talking to, you know, brother vets and veterans. If you want to try EFT, I'm sure there's a way that they'll let you know about it and give it a shot, because I'm living proof of this, you know, so hang in there.